Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to repair a water leak on your Ecotec engine by replacing the water pump outlet. First, let's go ahead and talk about the outlet real quick. You got 3 inverted Torx bolts right here that you're going to have to take out. It actually sits on the side of the engine like this. You got 1 gasket here that holds it on, and then you got 3 coolant hoses that hook to the water outlet, and then you have this hose right here. A lot of times this port here will be what's leaking. This hose goes straight in the top. Whenever you replace this outlet, I recommend replacing this hose as well. The torque spec on these 3 inverted Torx is 71 pounds/inch. So let's go ahead and get to removing it. Alright, so first, down in this hole right here is where your water pump outlet is. You can kind of see one of the bolts right in here that I'm touching with the inverted Torx. First thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and remove this pipe out of the way. So we're going to disconnect the mass airflow sensor. Take this worm clamp right here. Going to loosen that up. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of our way. Just back it up to you. Give it a good up and down. And go ahead and remove it out of your way. Next, let's go ahead and remove this pipe right here. Alright, get that out of our way. Now we want to go ahead and disconnect our connector down here on the water pump outlet. All you have to do, push down that, slide it out, it'll come right out of there. After that, let's go ahead and disconnect our hoses using your hose pliers or a pair of channel locks, or regular pliers work fine. Slide that back. Tell you what, sometimes channel locks are a little bit better than hose pliers. Pull that hose off, bottom. Let's go ahead and do these top hoses. And our water pump hose, or excuse me, our radiator hose here. Alright, once we got all the hoses disconnected, let's go ahead and remove our E10 bolts. Alright, using an inverted 10, let's go ahead and take them out. They're pretty easy to get out. What I like to do is just break them loose, then use my fingers and move them out the rest of the way. Makes it a little bit quicker. Alright, let's go ahead and take that out. Now when I removed that, underneath here you can see the seal actually stayed on the block of the engine. You'll want to make sure that you remove that. If you don't, you will have a water leak. You probably won't be able to get it on, but I have seen crazier things, so make sure you remove this old water pump gasket. Alright, let's take our new outlet and stick it on. We want to go ahead and start all 3 of the bolts before we tighten anything all the way down. Anytime you do any job, you're going to want to make sure that you start all the bolts first before tightening them all down, because if you don't, sometimes they won't line up just perfectly, because you have a little bit of room in the bolt holes where it'll move from side to side, so it just won't line up. So make sure that you go ahead and get them all the way started before you tighten anything. All right, let's go ahead and torque them down. 71 inch-pounds is what we got. Oops, sorry about hitting the camera there. I always like to double check them. All right, 71 inch-pounds. Okay, let's go ahead and install the hoses. I'm gonna install this back hose first. One thing about the back hose that I want to tell you is when you install the hose clamp, if you install the hose clamp straight up and down, you won't be able to get the cover onto the, or not the cover, but the inlet on here. So make sure that when you put the hose on, you angle the clamp down. Or at least to the side where it won't hit. Let's go ahead and put this top radiator hose on, or top hose on, I should say. And the radiator hose. Just like that. That's coming out of this port right here. Now, like I said before, whenever I do this job, I like to replace this hose right here. This is that hose that goes all the way across and connects to the top. A lot of times this tends to break off after a while, or it gets brittle right here. And it just makes sense while you're doing this job, so you don't run into a problem in the future. You just go ahead and replace this while you're at it. This hose is about 15 or 20 bucks. So it's not like it's gonna break you to replace it. You have to remove the old hose clamp off of this. When you're installing it, go ahead and install it back on. And put that where it goes. Install the hose. Once we have that done, let's go ahead and install this connector onto the water pump outlet. Just take it and push it on good, give it a good pull, see if it comes off. You'd rather it come off now instead of when you're going down the road. Let's install the hose now. Let's go ahead and install the air inlet hose now. The throttle body, so we're going to go ahead and stick that there. While you're there, if you want to, you can clean that throttle body out with some throttle body cleaner, but we're not going to on this one. Go ahead and tighten that 7mm up on that worm gear. And install the mass airflow sensor. Now it's time to fill the coolant system up. I actually have a tool that I'm going to use that vacuums the whole system down to put coolant in it. If you don't have that, you may have to bleed the system a little bit, but just fill it up, go test drive it, come back, look and see if it's full, make sure it's not running hot. If it is, make sure you top it off. If it has any air in it, it burps it out. One thing I do recommend is when you get that water pump outlet on, I recommend pressure testing the system again, just to make sure that you don't have no leaks. This is a air pressure tester. You don't have to actually have a pump. They make a pump one that's pretty cheap. You can actually pick one up from the parts store on their loaner tool program for $5. You give them $5 and a picture of your license, and normally they'll let you borrow a tool and you bring it back and you get your $5 back. Or sometimes it's the cost of the tool, but it just depends on the place. But I really recommend pressure testing the system before you go any further or go on a drive. And you're done. If you have an engine hot AC off light on your dash, you may have a code stored. You'll need a code reader or a scanner to clear that code. There's a Bluetooth one that's inexpensive. I'll link in the comments below. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Click that subscribe button. Help me help you. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up, or click one of these other videos wherever they are. Thanks again for watching.